Hi, so once again this is Claire, otherwise known as Lady in the Back, and I'm introducing Julian Brady, Know Your Guitar Tutor. Julian's going to run us through the intermediate lessons.
Right, so intermediate is between the beginner grades preliminary 1 and 2 and the advanced grades 6, 7 and 8. And it's basically, insofar as the chords are concerned, we're taking the nut fret chords and starting to move them up and down the fretboard. So grade 3, you're learning the basic bar chords. Grade 4, we're adding to the majors and minors of grade 3, we're adding the dominant 7s, the major 7s and the minor 7s. Grade 5, we're further adding to that lot with sus4s, major and minor 6s. So all the way through there's an incremental difficulty coming up through the grades. Those are just the chords I mentioned. There's also, of course, the added levels of complexity on the navigation through the pieces and so on and so forth. Also, as I'm starting at the beginning of the book, this I've chosen the grade 4 to go through now for no particular reason. But the first component is the scales and arpeggios. So we're what are we doing? Grade 4. We're learning the same basic scales. I think the minor pentatonic is not there, but the other 4 scales, the major scale, natural minor scale, and the pentatonic versions of both of those, not the minor but the blues scale as well, we're doing in 2 different positions. So instead of just, so I'll pick a scale, what have we got here, major scale, instead of just, we have to play that in 2 different ways. Okay, so the scales are there, kind of the same thing. Also at grade 3 and grade 4 we're introducing arpeggios. Grade 3 has the arpeggios matching the chords, in other words major and minor arpeggios. Grade 4 has the dominant 7, minor 7 and major 7 arpeggios, and grade 5 has the sus4 and major and minor 6s. An arpeggio, quite simply put, is playing the notes contained within a chord in their order. So a C major chord contains the 1st, 3rd and 5th major chord it is made from 1 through 5. That chord, and so on and so forth. Very, very useful trick. Oh, it's not a trick, in fact, a little bit later on it combines everything and gives you real full knowledge. It's a way into music theory, which at grade 5 starts. You get a little bit of theory, which by then should be quite interesting, and it makes you understand a bit more, and it makes your playing, and if you're thinking about composing, rather than just, if it sounds good, it is good, which is, I'm not knocking that, it's a very good thing to do, but when you see how to make the music flow along and play all the chords in a certain key, it makes everything easier. And the intermediate chords at grades 3, 4 and 5 are all bar chords. Using the forms that you've learnt at grade 1, 2 and 3 down here, we're going to be moving those up and down the fretboard to varying different pitches. So grade 3 covers majors and minors. Grade 4, not forgetting the grade 3 stuff, but we're adding major 7s, minor 7s and dominant 7 chord forms. And grade 5 we're adding the sus4s and the major and minor 6s. So those are, as before, just chord forms, all nicely laid out. And this is one of the new books. Old books are still valid this year, but this is one of the new ones I happen to have here. So on to the rhythm playing, which is where you practice your chords. You play your chords in a nice series of these beautifully written songs. Here's an example. I'll just bang into that one. So up tempo, slightly fast. It's an indication. It's a range of indication of speeds, starting with a B. 1, 2. That's an example of the, you don't have to play it that well, and obviously you can choose a speed to slow it. It's a question of practicing in the chords. So that's a grade 4 piece. As a little by the side here, I will be making backing tracks of all these, which will be available to you so you can hear what they're supposed to sound like roughly. And it would be an idea. I'll play them quite slowly. I'll probably repeat them 4 times in different styles, one finger style and one belting through the chords, and change the styles, but play all 4 in a row so you can get a rhythm, and that'll be a resource which will be available to you. So with the lead playing, it's where we put our scales into practice, into operation, find out what they're for. Not just obviously playing the scales over there, but using the scales as a basis to choose a melody from. There's also a whole lot of tricks that I'll be throwing in, such as, let me see, rather than just playing a straightforward minor pentatonic scale, you can use incremental triplets, which is a triplet, incrementing the start note by 1. And a lot of associated tricks as well. So that you get that naturally as we progress. On to spoken tests. Spoken tests are about the guitar, it's about knowledge of the instrument, it's about music in general. There's a new section here about effects pedals. All that stuff is stuff that we go through in the basic stages anyway. The last section being oral assessment, which is all about listening. A little bit more advanced. Some people find this quite difficult. I found it difficult, but like everything else, it's okay for it to be difficult, it's okay for it to be a challenge. The idea is the more you do it, the easier it gets. It is as simple as that. If at first you don't succeed, etc. Personally, when I was learning, 30 years ago, I found this particularly challenging because it was outside my experience at the time, and I had to stick to it. And I now find it quite easy just having done it a lot. So that's the last section. So as an example, the kind of level we're talking around about 4 or 5. One of the many backing tracks I'll send you, depending on the style. I've chosen a little blues one here just to give you an example. Which is on B.B. King's song, using minor 7s. Etc. A real good backing track where you can work out your blues scale. Yes, lady at the back.
I noticed that you were doing some string bending.
I was doing little string bending. Yeah, that's just one of the many little details of how to manipulate the scales a bit and how to muck around, how to make it sound like a proper solo.
Great. And all those things are taught in those grades 3, 4, 5.
Yes, that's right. Well, on the information and advice on each section in the lead section, it gives you clues as to what to do. But that's a real good area where, unless you see somebody doing it and showing you, giving an example of exactly what it means, you can bark up the wrong tree for quite a long time without the right kind of tuition.
Excellent.
So there we are. That's the intermediate grades in a nutshell. A very quick nutshell, I have to say.
Thank you, Julian. At the end of the video, we'll have Julian's contact details, so you can contact him to book your lesson, whether it's online or here in his studio. Happy playing.
Okay, thanks.